Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is lecture 6 of soil science, and this lecture we will study soil forming processes or genesis or the weathering. So in the soil formation or the development of the soil, that are natural bodies, includes two broad processes. Soil formation is composed of two main processes. Number one is the formation of the parent material from which the soil evolves. So first the formation of the parent material means creation of the soil material from the bedrocks, and then the number second is evolution of the soil layers. So once the parent material is formed, then there is a evolution of the soil layers. So it is not a direct formation of the soil, but it is a step by step. In step 1, there is the formation of the parent material from the bedrock, and then there is the formation of different layers or the horizons in the soil. So approximately 99% of the world soil develop from the mineral parent material that is derived from the weathering of the bedrock. So after weathering of the bedrock, mineral material is formed, and from the mineral material soil is formed. So almost all the soil is formed from the mineral parent material, that is the product of the bedrock or the rocks. So bedrocks may be the igneous rock, sedimentary rock, or metamorphic rock. So bedrock weathering and formation of the parent material take place first. So bedrock is not considered soil parent material because soil layers do not form it. So we can't say any rock as a soil. Rock is not a soil because it doesn't contain the soil profile or different layers of the soil. So unconsolidated debris that is produced from the weathering of the bedrock is soil parent material. So this is actually the definition of the soil parent material. Soil parent material is the unconsolidated debris that is produced from the weathering of the bedrock. So when bedrock occurs at or near the land surface, the weathering of the bedrock and the formation of the parent material may occur simultaneously with the evolution of the soil layers. So if the bedrock is nearby the surface, the weathering process on it will be fast, and if the bedrock lies underneath or in depth, then the weathering process will be slow. So the upper bedrocks they interact with the climatic conditions and other factors more, and hence it converted into the parent material, and then parent material very fastly developed into the different soil layers. So rates of the parent material formation from the direct weathering of the bedrock are highly variable. It depends on the intensity of different factors, as we studied in previous lectures, and time is also important in that. A weakly cemented sandstone in a humid environment might disintegrate at the rate of a centimeter in 10 years and leave 1 centimeter of soil. So formation of the soil is very slow process that requires centuries to develop a good soil. So here the example of the sandstone is that in the human environment it takes 10 years to disintegrate and then will be converted into 1 centimeter of the soil. So here we can see that 1 centimeter of the soil can be formed from a bedrock uh, after 10 years. So it is a very slow process. So soil formation take place in two consecutive stages. Number one is simple weathering. This is called the disintegration and decomposition of rocks and minerals that give rise to the unconsolidated regolith. A regolith is actually the parent material that is formed from the bedrock after disintegration and decomposition. Okay, so once the regolith is formed, parent material is formed, then there is a stage of the soil profile development. So in the regolith, different layers are formed uh, slowly. First the two layers, then three layers, four layers like that. So regolith material is gradually modified and a horizon sequence develops under combined action of climate, vegetation, topography, and time. So the parent material undergone the reaction of the climate, vegetation, topography, and time, and slowly develop into the true soil. So here diagram you can see the rock is converted into regolith first, and then regolith is converted into true soil finally. So rock is the bedrock and regolith is the parent material. So technical name of the parent material is regolith, and due to the weathering of the regolith, true soil is formed. Okay. So true soil we call the soil which have different layers or different horizons. So horizontal layers are called the horizons in the soil. So weathering and regolith formation take place. Weathering is basically a combination of destruction and synthesis. So weathering destroy the rock material or the parent material, and once it is destroyed or disintegrated into pieces, then these pieces join together again to form different kind of soil. It breaks up rocks. So weathering breaks up the rocks, modifies destroys their physical characteristics and carries away soluble products and some of the solids. So this is complete disintegration and then transportation of those particles and the parent material from one place to another. These changes are accompanied by a continuous decrease in particle size. So as the weathering proceeds or as the weathering continues, this disintegration ultimately make the rock particles smaller or the parent material particle smaller, very small. So release of the soluble constituents which may be subject to the loss in drainage water or recombination into new minerals. So some of the part of this raw material or the rock material is dissolved in the water, and that may flow away in the drainage. So as the size of the particle decreases, the weathering process increases. Why weathering process increases? Because the surface area of the particles, total surface area of the particles increases. So it means as we cut down a piece into different pieces and then we measure the total surface area, the total surface area will be of the particles will be higher than the surface area of the one particle that was broken into different pieces. So one example is mentioned here. You can see that we have a cubic, the cuboid that has the that is a single piece, and if we measure its area is area of one face of this cubic shape is 9 square inch, and the total surface area of this one cube is 54 square inch. And if we cut this piece into eight pieces, and then we measure the surface area of each piece, and we will find that its surface area will be 108 square inch. So surface area is increased from 54 to 108 square inch. And if we further divide into 27 blocks, and then we measure the surface area of each block and sum up, and it will be 162 square inch area. So area of a one piece, single piece is 54 square inch, and area of 27 pieces surface area is 162 square inch. So as we so it is proved that if we divide any piece into more pieces, if we divide one piece into more pieces, the total surface area is increased. So, and if the surface area is increased, then reaction on that, effect of the temperature on that, effect of the moisture on that will also increased. Another example I can quote here, if we borrow the vegetables from the market and we bring it to home, and if we cook those vegetables without cutting, uh, and we cannot cook, or if we even we cook and finally we will know it will remain uncooked from inside. But if we cut down that vegetable into more pieces, smaller, and it will take little time to cook, and it will be cooked completely, and there will be no uncooked part when we will eat it. So this is because the vegetable we processed and we cooked